Good morning, students. I hope you all are fine and staying safe at home. Okay, so today's class will be starting of chapter 2 in continuation, which you have already seen the first video, which consists of which was explaining you the various types of changes. So we'll do a quick recap of those and then we'll begin with the today's class. The first we have already studied, that is slow and fast changes. Slow, which takes time to occur and happens slowly. Fast changes, those changes which occur very fast. Reversible and irreversible changes. Reversible changes which can be reversed back, which can be changed back into its original form, whereas irreversible changes are those which cannot be reversed back or changed back into its original form. Then we discussed about natural and man-made changes. Natural changes which are occurring naturally, which nature is helping to occur, whereas man-made changes are those changes in which the human beings are causing these changes to happen. Then the next is desirable and undesirable changes. Desirable changes which we desire for, which we want, which are useful for us, whereas undesirable changes are those changes which are not desired, not wanted by us. The next type of changes is physical and chemical changes. Physical changes in which only the physical properties are changed. For example, its state, color, the size will be changing, whereas chemical changes are those changes in which chemical properties changes. Right? So we will continue with our chapter. Physical changes. So physical changes in the state of matter. So what all physical changes are happening around us, we need to learn first all the various definitions related to it, how the various changes of states of matter which are occurring. The very first process is evaporation. Evaporation is the process in which a liquid changes to a gaseous state below this word is very, very important. Below its boiling point. That means we are not boiling it, we are not giving it extra heat. So before it reaches any liquid which reaches its boiling point, before it only, if it is changing to gaseous state, then that process is called evaporation. Whereas boiling is the process in which liquid changes to a gaseous state when heated to its boiling point. So when the liquid reaches its boiling point and then converts its state from liquid to gaseous state, then that process is called boiling. Whereas if it is occurring below its boiling point, then it is called evaporation. And one more another difference is that evaporation takes place very slowly, whereas boiling occurs at a very fast rate. Evaporation, another difference, evaporation occurs at all temperatures because it is happening below the boiling point, so at all temperatures, whereas boiling is occurring at the boiling point. It has to be at the boiling point only, no other temperature any substance can carry out boiling process. So I hope this is clear. Example of evaporation, that drying of the wet clothes which you dry it outside in the sun, that is evaporation. And when you are heating, while making tea, the water is boiled, so that process is boiling because you are giving the heat, and when it reaches its boiling point, it starts to boil and gets converted from liquid to gaseous state. Now comes the next process, that is condensation. Condensation is the process in which a substance changes from a gaseous state to a liquid state on cooling. Now here we are cooling it down. Therefore, the state which is changing is gas to liquid. Like we cover any container with the help of a lid, and water is boiling inside it, or even when you cook the food, when your mother cook the food, so and cover it with the lid. After some time, when you just uncover it, then you can see the tiny water droplets are there. So that is what condensation is happening, that the water vapors coming out from the food, it gets stuck to the lid and then converts into the tiny water droplets. Now the next process is freezing. Now what happens in freezing is it is the process in which a substance changes from a liquid to a solid state on cooling, right? So what is happening actually? Liquid to solid state. For example, freezing, which we are carrying out of water, that water gets converted into ice. So this is what happening in freezing process, whereas melting, which is the opposite of freezing. Freezing mein what is happening? Liquid to solid on cooling, whereas melting, what is happening? Process in which a substance changes from a solid state to a liquid state. So solid to liquid is happening in melting. So it is just the reversible of freezing process on reducing the temperature or heat, right? So when we are heating it, then it will start melting. Now the next process which we are going to study is sublimation. Now sublimation is process in which a substance change directly from a solid to a gaseous state. So now what is happening, what we have to remember is that it is directly. The word directly is very important, that it is changing from solid to gaseous state directly. It is not changing otherwise. What is happening? That solid converts into liquid state and then converts to gaseous state. That is what is happening. But no, in sublimation process what happens? That solid directly changes to gaseous state without passing through the intermediate liquid state. And if the temperature is high, if it is a hot weather, then, or if extra heat is being provided, sublimation process occurs fast. Now one activity is shown in your books also. So this is the container containing solid ammonium chloride which is being heated. Now solid ammonium chloride, when heated, it is covered with the funnel so that all the things which are being evaporated, that can be deposited. So now what is happening is solid ammonium chloride, what it is happening, it is not the changing into the liquid first. Directly the solid is changing into vapor state, that is the gaseous state, and sticking onto the sides of the funnel, on the inverted funnel. So here are the vapors of ammonium chloride, and here after condensing, it directly again changes from gas to solid again. So this is what is happening in sublimation process. Now the last is dissolving. Both the substances, dissolving, what happens actually, what we are doing is we are not making any new substance. It is again an example of physical changes. Dissolving mein we are simply adding the salt or any solid, or dissolving it in the liquid. So what is happening in dissolving actually? Both the substances, the substance, solid substance which we are adding, and the liquid substance, they retain their individual properties. No new substances formed. Substances can be separated easily. So it is a reversible process. We can say that again it is a reversible process. So it comes under the category of physical changes. Now I'll show you one activity. As you can see that here I have put the two glasses, and you can see here it is one glass of water. This is in liquid state, whereas here you can see clearly that it is the ice. So now as you can see this ice, you can see the droplets. So this is what is happening. It is the condensation which is being taking place, and this solid has been melted. As you can see clearly that solid ice has melted and changed into liquid because I have taken out from the freezer. So that means I am lowering or reducing the temperature, or rather giving heat, because it is outside, it is hot as compared to the fridge or the freezer. So therefore it is melting. Yes, and the process of dissolving, I will show you that what is meant by dissolving. I will be putting some amount of salt into the water, and as you can see we are simply dissolving it, we are simply mixing it. So what happens that it is just the solution which is being formed, right? So it is just the solution which is being formed and nothing else. So this is what happens in dissolving. No new substance is being produced. So I hope you all have understood all the various activities or various processes which are occurring in the physical changes, that is changes in the state of matter, that how the state of matter are changing from one state to the another. So I'll just show you the flow diagram, that solids gets converted to liquids, and liquids gets converted into gas. Gas can again be converted to liquid, and liquid can again be converted back to solids. So solids to liquids, if it is happening, so this is done by the process. The process is called melting. And liquids to gases, further heating it, that process is called boiling if it is happening at the boiling point, and if it is occurring at the temperature below boiling point, then it is called evaporation. Right? Now the reversible gas to liquid, that process is called condensation, whereas liquids to solid, this is called freezing. Right? So I hope this flowchart is clear to all of you, and go through the chapter and understand it and try to read it and solve the back exercises as well as question answers. Thank you, and be safe, be at home and enjoy yourself.